maple syrup. I'm not reacting to this just because I want to. I have a legit, actual reaction to why I am behaving like this or why I'm having these expressions. Because I haven't watched this film in a while, and after having a conversation about it just recently with a couple people, I found myself just watching this again. And when I first saw the the first go around, how can I explain him? I mean, I thought it was okay on the first go around. You know, it was something I saw for the first time. I was like, okay, it's one of those popcorn films that you can just watch just for the hell of it. So I watched it again, and lo and behold, this film is just fucking ridiculous. It's silly, it's goofy, it's weird, it's what the fuck, but it also has those pros to where it's got some originality, creativity, and some excellence to it. So most of it's on the negative side, little bit is on the positive side. So Sleepaway Camp, there's I believe a franchise of these films. I'm not gonna bother with the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever, how many fucking movies there are. I'm not gonna bother watching the rest of them because I can imagine that the whole entire franchise, trilogies, or whatever it is, I can imagine that the rest of the films suck a lot. That they suck fucking elephant dongs, deer droppings, skunk feces, whatever. So you got these two cousins named Ricky and Angela. They end up going to this camp for a couple weeks during their summer because they want to get away from their lives of misery that they are having, and they want to try and gain some friends, do sports activities, play games, and whatever. You got the boys section, you got the girls section, and poor Ricky and Angela are split away into their divided groups. So you got Ricky, foul mouth little fucker. Poor kid just can't seem to get a break. He's already suffering enough. He's got an erectile dysfunction. He had bad diarrhea before he left. He forgot to take his fucking pills. His fucking aunt stole the money out of his wallet. He's got no life insurance. His debit and his credit card were stolen. He will never lose his virginity. He came to the reality and acceptance of that. He got picked on the bus. He had fucking bubblegum stuck to his shoe. His fucking pants ripped. He can't seem to get a goddamn break at all. So, the poor boys, older teenage kids, the camp counselor, which I will talk about momentarily, and the boys his age just fucking pick on poor Ricky. And the kid is grumpy. Leave me the fuck alone. I want to try and get through this camp and just in one piece. But that doesn't happen because he's very protective of his cousin Angela. So then you have Angela, who's quiet, content, trying to keep to herself, mind her own business also. Then you got these very bitchy ass girls who's obviously going through the hormones, getting everything that a young woman has in that developmental period. And then all of a sudden they think they're all that because they got nice little ribbons in their hair and they got, all those parts, and they're chewing on bubble gum or chewing on a pencil or whatever, thinking that they're all that, and they're picking on poor Angela because they got nothing else better to do with their lives. So, as for the other characters you have Paul, who is the love interest of Angela, who comes in later on and stops these other boys from picking on her, calling her names. And Angela barely speaks a word until Paul came to her defense and started talking to her and everything. He obviously seeked a love interest to her, hugs and kisses, and trying to Well, you know how puberty is when you're a young adult, when you're a young kid, man. It starts to go through you start to go through the motions and it's starting to feel certain ways that's just natural for every person who, reaches that point in their life and that age and then become an adult and all other stuff. We've all gone through it, having those moments through puberty. Poor Angela just doesn't know what the fuck to think about it. She doesn't know how to feel or react to anything what Paul is doing. I mean, she was able to forgive him quite a few times until he tried to overstep the boundaries, and there goes my fucking pills on the floor. I may need to fucking take my medicine after talking about this film to you folks. So, Angela doesn't know how to react to Paul. It sends her into a flashback period to a time in her childhood, which was actually very interesting. And sure enough, that time frame of this whole film does play into effect with the current events that is happening. So while Angela is dealing with this little love interest with Paul, she's dealing with the girls, Judy and Meg, who are picking on her, giving her a hard time and everything. Then you got poor ass Ricky, who's dealing with Kenny and Billy and Jimmy and Bimmy and all these other assholes who's giving him a hard time, can't catch a break. Then you got these other camp counselors. You got one fucking dude who is trying to be a wannabe Kerry Von Erich or Kerry Von Erich or wannabe Tito Santana or fucking Rick the Model Martel, some sort of wannabe wrestler who had that arrogance to him as a heel, or the southern beautiful baby face reaction. I don't know what he was trying to do because he had those fucking skimpy shorts on, showing off his hairy legs and fake muscles and all that nonsense. Ridiculousness. Then you have this fucking cop who comes in throughout the film, has a fake ass mustache that you can just tell a mile away how my fucking mustache is more bushy than his is. Then you got the fucking camp counselor who's running the whole thing, who's got the worst dialogue throughout the whole entire film. Is the acting for him and the reactions and how he comes off weird, ridiculous, and just unintentionally hilarious for the sake of it. Catches you off by left field where you're just laughing at him, not with Adam. So there's no seriousness at all with the fucking old ass camp moderator. Then you got the cook, who is a sick fuck. Lots of weird people throughout this film except Angela. She's the only one that you can sympathize for because she's just trying to mind her own business. You got Ricky, who's a little hothead. You got these other boys who are just playing fucking water balloon fight on the roof. Fucking piling onto each other. Playing baseball. By the way, just to sum up that whole scene, it took forever! Great insults, by the way. Eat shit and die.
No, it's eat shit and live. You gotta live when you're eating the manure.
Fantastic dialogue. Bravo. Outstanding insults. I was offended. The dialogue in this film just fucking sucked beyond. The acting was atrocious with everybody, except Angela, who actually did a good job. And I have to give props to Judy for actually portraying the bitch role perfectly. Even though you wanted to hate her, she had that somewhat of a go away heat, but she actually portrayed that role not so bad to where she actually get that heat on her, thinking, you know what, I want something to happen to this fucking bitch for being this big ass bully to this poor innocent chick. So, besides all the negatives that I have with the acting and the dialogue and the whole storytelling in the present day, let's talk about some somewhat good things that happen in the film. For example, you have you got the killing where once it comes time to this whole sequence where there was going to be killed to a particular individual, let's just say all the kills happen to the characters who are being bullies and assholes throughout the whole entire film, and justice is done, rightfully so. But however, though, with the presentation, you got this first person perspective going on, something that you saw in the first Friday 13th. So you got some inspiration going on with that, using the whole Friday the 13th perspective and going after its victims and committing the crime right there. But like I said, not killing just for the sake of it, committing crimes towards assholes who are legitimately sick in the head and bullies. However, the kills are actually very creative in some of the most suspenseful manners, involving various things like a beehive, a curling iron, uh, uh, using the old motto of when a friend betrays you that you stabbed me in the back. Spoiler alert right there. I'll let you folks think on that what I said. And if you've also seen Psycho, then you'll probably get an idea. Also using the whole factor of boiling water. The fucking cook, he had this goddamn big ass kettle drum, uh, kettle or whatever the hell it is. Some sort of something that you would probably see as like a replica of a fucking silo that you would see on a farm. I don't know. His fucking pan that he had that was just a huge container that fucking spilled on him whenever he put his goddamn Cheetos in there or whatever it was he was cooking. That spilled on him, and he obviously was sent to the hospital. So practical effects, the usage of the makeup design for a lot of the kills that happened was actually interesting. Good, really good look, and clever shots were actually being showcased to include the horror for the kills after it was being executed. Besides one where it showed a mannequin that obviously was not the best, and it was very obvious. So originality and creativity with some inspiration from another film and using it at its own to really give a original interpretation for what this killer is doing in their first person perspective. So interesting stuff there. And the final thing about this film that was a big pro to me was the whole entire twist. So I want you folks, if you haven't seen this movie, obviously the film itself is bad from the beginning to the center. However, though, once it becomes into the real story that's being into play, this is where you just have to keep watching to realize what's going to become. So once that twist was given, you would have never have thought that something like this would have actually happened because you were bought into one of the characters' roles. You were just bought into it and you just believed it right then and there with how they were coming off. So the twist in itself was fantastic. That right there was like the whole movie right there. And plus the flashback sequences, that honestly could have just been the whole film itself. I mean, if you've seen Insidious before, then you probably get an idea with somewhat of a similar difference. I forgot what Insidious it was, but there was some thing going on with one of the Insidious films with something happening in the flashback with this going on with the events in this particular film alone. So the whole entire twist of the film was fantastic, and that was one of the biggest things that people really remember about it. So overall, shit dialogue, shit acting, goofy reactions. Characters are all idiots except Angela and Jude. Well, Judy's an idiot, but her acting portrayed as a bitch was surprisingly good. Uh, Originality and inspiration slash creativity used for the kills. Uh, the twist itself was fantastic. So Sleepaway Camp, it's a goofy fucking film. It's just something that you would watch on a random night throughout Halloween just for the having some fun. Probably, yeah. But it's a goofy film. It's ridiculous, but there's some things about it that actually wasn't that terrible. So I'm gonna be generous enough and give the film a 2 out of 5. So Sleepaway Camp is one of those films where you can say it's a bit of a cult classic for some, for a lot out there who like watching these uh campy, no pun intended, horror films that's cheesy, ridiculous, that'll just have a good laugh with. So that's all I can really say about Sleepaway Camp. It's just a ridiculous film. So if you've seen this movie, let me know down below your thoughts about it. If you've seen the sequels to it, let me know down below your thoughts on that. And ciao for now.